Hello and welcome to this Haute Couture special edition of ENCORE. Coming up, we take a look at the best of the autumn-winter collections presented here in Paris. We chat to couturier Maurizio Galante about the challenges of creating made-to-measure confections and ingratiating himself into this most glamorous of Parisian circles. And our fashion critic, Jessica Michault, is with us in the studio to take us through the major trends spotted this year and what the couture houses have come up with to keep the fashion elite glued to their front row seats. Maurizio, thanks for being our guest today.
Bonjour.
And Jessica, of course, thanks for being with us.
My pleasure.
Now, it's Haute Couture Week here in Paris. The shows have already started. It makes for some sumptuous viewing on the television and in the pages of our glossy magazines. The big houses have all been represented, Dior, Chanel, Gaultier. Jessica, can you just run us through what sets Haute Couture apart from the ready-to-wear collections?
Well, the biggest difference between Haute Couture and ready-to-wear is that it's made to measure. The clothing is fit exactly to the measurements of a woman's body. She'll go 1, 2, maybe even 3 times to a Haute Couture house to get the exact measurements and the proportions right to her. I think another major point to make is that most of the clothing that you get in Haute Couture probably costs the same as a small car. The pricing is extreme, to say the least. But also what couture is about, it's really a dream factor. Our designers get to experiment with fabric, get to experiment with grand ideas, and then you see the kind of trickle down later into ready-to-wear. But it is a place of magic and dreams.
Very rarefied atmosphere.
Absolutely.
It's a very prestigious industry. Now, Maurizio, you've been working in Haute Couture for a few years now. Probably a very difficult circle to break into. How did you do that?
I started my collection in Paris in '92, and I became member of Chambre Syndicale de Haute Couture in 2008. Yes, it's difficult, but I think it's terms of quality of work. I think the France for this is perfect.
Yeah, it's certainly a technical accolade for anyone.
The savoir-faire.
Yeah, the savoir-faire indeed. Now, Jessica, what about this year's collections? Were there any standout shows for you?
Well, one of the biggest pieces of news, or the highest anticipated shows, was the debut of a new young designer at the iconic house of Elsa Schiaparelli. It was a young designer named Bertrand Gouillon, who was given this opportunity to take over the house. And what's exceptional about him is that he comes from Valentino. He cut his teeth on couture at Valentino, if you know anything about Valentino. And the two new designers who are there, Maria Grazia Ciurri and Pier Paolo Piccoli, they are masters at couture, and this collection at Schiaparelli was exceptional, far and away much better than his predecessor. And it was great also to see the duo from Valentino sitting in the front row, cheering him on, and really helping him flourish in this new adventure, and he did a great job.
Right, okay. Now, I get the feeling that every year, every season, the sets and the staging get more elaborate, more expensive, more atmospheric. What were the highlights this time around?
Well, you can always count on Chanel to come up with some amazing set, and they did not disappoint this year. This season, it was Chanel Casino Royale, and what he did this time, Karl Lagerfeld, was he stacked the deck with amazing, fantastic celebrities. So he had people like Lily Collins, Kristen Stewart, Vanessa Paradis and her daughter Lily Rose Depp, G-Dragon, Laura Stone, Stella Tennant. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. All these celebrities. And then finally, Julianne Moore coming out and just like owning the place in this amazing haute jewelry, comet necklace, one-of-a-kind necklace. So all of this is going on in the center of the stage. And then at the same time, you have this fashion show going around, but all the eyes were on the celebrities in the middle and who was going to win and take home the bank.
Of course, the jackpot for Chanel then.
Exactly.
I mean, predictably ritzy. But I mean, haute couture, all this elaborate staging and expense that goes with the promotion and also the creation of these clothes does come in for a bit of criticism in times of recession. It is an important industry here in France, though, so who better to defend that industry than Chanel designer Karl Lagerfeld? He gives us his point of view.
You know, fashion is not needed. There may oral problems in the world who may be more important, so that is not the problem, but it's an industry. And, you know, fashion has to go with time. If fashion doesn't go with time, fashion would be lost.
actually, Maurizio, I wanted to ask you a question. When I came and saw your most recent work, it was in a beautiful art gallery. So it felt like the staging was very important for you. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about why you decided to do it there.
Yes, I present my collection in Helen Ballet Gallery in Paris, in Quai Voltaire, and the name is a conversation between the gallery, Helen, and myself. The gallery is specialized in masterpiece, Calder, Picasso, Degas, and I choose the gallery because I think for my work, I want really go away from the play of seasonal game of the fashion, because my clothes, it's evergreen. It's something my client buy 10 years ago and use today and fresh. It's totally fresh. For this, I'm not fashion designer. I'm more design than fashion designer.
Interesting.
So creating something that perhaps might be a masterpiece in years to come in the fashion world. Now, talking about trends, I probably won't be shelling out for an haute couture piece. So what can we see that might trickle down to the high street in the months to come?
Well, I think you're already ahead of the game because your top is really going in with what the color of the season was, and that was this shocking pink, which of course is completely linked with Elsa Schiaparelli. She's the one who came up with that exact name. But we saw that particular color not only on the Schiaparelli catwalk, but also at Armani, at Versace, and I think also at Dior. So it's this very light and vibrant color, and when you have colors like that coming to fore and you have all the different designers thinking of the same color, you think that maybe that means something in the bigger scope of thing in the world. Maybe we're all feeling much more cheerful, much more uplifted, much more vibrant. Hopefully it'll trickle down into fashion and also into our own sensibilities.
Okay, well, pink certainly does give you a lift.
Yes.
I can vouch for that. Now, Maurizio, to come back to your collection, I believe that you only show haute couture once a year.
Yeah.
Why that choice?
Because I don't believe in seasonal way in terms of meteo way, and another way it's because the client today is here and tomorrow it's in Rio de Janeiro. Why we have this idea about the clothes for winter, clothes for summer, and haute couture for me it's more experimental way. It's more creativity, and the clothes it's not commercial.
But I was really interested because I know your work, and in the past it was known for a much more organic fluidity. And this time when I went and saw these pieces, there was much more structure, much more definition. What was your thinking behind that?
But I present three clothes. It's more structure because it's a homage to the past. I use the pattern from the 18th century because before the Industrial Revolution, the arms is cut in another way with a gesture. But after, for commercial way, the gesture fall down and we don't have any more gesture. It's really right. And this is a homage to this way, to more personal, more emotional.
It's true that we saw that a lot in portraiture of the time, always the arm crooked. Now, we must point out that this show that you recently showed, everything in the collection, including the furniture, the lighting, was designed by yourself because you're a multidisciplinary designer. You've worked in architecture, even interiors, all sorts of things. How do you approach these different disciplines? Do you have a different way of tackling haute couture to when you tackle lighting?
No, I think in the same way, because today we don't need nothing in terms we have a dress, we have a furniture, we have a table, chair. What we need is just emotion. And that's it. I try to transmit or build something to give emotion.
Do you have a preference?
This is my way.
Do you have a favorite thing to design?
No, we don't have a preference, baby. In terms of the child, is the same.
Very diplomatic idea. Now, we're going to finish off with a peek at a behind the scenes of one of the most iconic couture houses. That's Dior. This new film, documentary, is called Dior and I. It follows the new arrival, Raf Simons, as he tries to create his first haute couture collection. Jessica, can you let us know what you thought about Dior this year?
Dior was a fabulous collection this year. It was really the Garden of Earthly Delights. It was a stunning collection where we're seeing Raf Simons really propose new ideas in fashion, almost pushing fashion into the future without us realizing that that's the direction we wanted to go in. And when you get that tingling in your spine, you know it's an amazing collection. And I definitely had a spine tingling moment or two watching this amazing show basically showing us the future of fashion.
Wow, okay. Well, we'll leave you with a clip of that. Remember, you can get more culture news on our website. We're also on Twitter and Facebook. I'd like to thank Maurizio for being with us.
Pleasure.
Thank you. And Jessica, as always.
Pleasure.
There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.
To face a legacy which is so gigantic and sublime, I find the legacy of Dior rather challenging.
Raf wasn't the obvious candidate. People said, oh, he's a minimalist. Because of the history of Dior, people are fascinated by what will happen.
Alors tout va être prêt demain.
There was not one dress here, not one. I never give up until the first girl is on stage.
Stand by pour musique.